It's probably better, Youngie, if you couldn't hear me. You could catch a little of my dance machine going on there, right?
Yeah,
Not bad.
that was hot. Yeah, that was nice. I like that.
Back in the day, I could cut some rug. You know what I'm saying?
Fantasy rock. Let's go.
Fantasy rock. You can. Belly high. Hey, tonight the OSP is honored to have former first-round pick and 27th overall Jumaine Jones joining us this week. It's an awesome day to join us. Well. Look who crowed his ass out of bed to join us. Big Choppenheimer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
Thank God it's Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
My wife made banging quesadillas with chicken in them tonight. Put a little spice. Oh, it was good. It was good. Hey, I was just telling T-Sizz we're going to talk some NBA past, present, and future with Jumaine, the main man, Jones, your guy. We'll talk about his journey through basketball, pro basketball. We'll talk about what he has going on in his life today, how he's transformed his life, his daily battles, his inspiration to get him where he is today. So I'm pretty psyched up to talk with Jumaine. I'm really looking forward to that. So,
it's going to be a great show.
Oh, it's going to be a banging show. Hey, listen, only two of us here tonight. It is what it is. My two guys are on point. So let's get started with a little spontaneous reaction, shall we? Episode 2, spontaneous reaction. There has been several media outlets that have said Deion Sanders said the only teams he will let his sons and Travis Hunter play for are the Eagles, the Niners, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Ravens, and the Falcons.
All right.
Teams he played for.
How can you tell me as a college coach that you can control that where those guys are drafted? Anybody got anything on that?
Well, my thing. Go ahead, T. T.
You're good.
It's you can say whatever. When time comes, when you get drafted, maybe, possibly, your dad can pull a Manning. They don't have the option that Elway had. Elway said, if you draft me, I'll go play baseball. Then he was able to work out of it. You can say, oh, you want now prime? When they get drafted, they'll go where who plays. They'll go who picks it.
You know what? I was thinking about this. Yes, he played for all those teams but the Eagles. But so did Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson said the same thing in the 86 draft when the Buccaneers drafted him. And he said, I'm not playing for you. What did he do? He went and played baseball.
Yeah.
Sat out that whole year, went back in the draft in 87, and the Raiders picked him. Now, what can Deion say about all this? I know he can have a little bit more influence on his son, but what about the other guy? Is he his agent, or does he have custody of him, or like what? How can he influence that? That's what I was interested in.
Shout out to our guy David joining us again. We appreciate you, David. I don't know what's going on in Amsterdam, New York, but I sure know what goes on in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Thanks for joining us, my man. Hey, I just have an issue with Deion thinking he can control everything. You know, he went out there and controlled Jackson State. He was successful, goes to Colorado, gets rid of all those kids. He's bringing in his own guys. What happens if he has another season like he had last year in Colorado? It's going to be hard for guys to buy into him. I think, personally.
Here's my thing, though. At what was the IMG, wherever he was before he went to Jackson State, he's winning everywhere. And now with the portal, he's bringing on guys that played in the NFL to be his coaches. And with the portal, just to say Deion Sanders was my coach, even if it's only for a year, if some guys transfer in, play for a year and leave, I think he's going to end up turning it around. And when I say turn around, I'm not saying it's going to be Alabama, not saying it's going to become a powerhouse, but I think he'll end up having successful seasons.
It's just going to be like the Bonnie Raitt song, "Turn Around
every time." I do. I honestly, I think he'll get it. I think he'll get it. But here's the thing, fellas, with the portal, can we really count any team out?
No.
I mean, Auburn, Michigan. You know the teams that are going to be there are going to be there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Yeah.
I think with the portal, you're going to have some sleepers. I really do. And just Deion's name alone, I think we'll get guys there. Hold on. He played in the NFL. He's a Hall of Famer. He's got other Hall of Famers on his staff. These guys can get me to the league.
And even if they're not on the staff, he's getting those guys to come in and work with them. Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
He's bringing guys in to coach them up.
Yeah.
Keeping a buck, Mikey. Is that keeping it a buck that you said?
Yeah. What do you think?
He's not record-wise, he didn't turn it around. Well, actually, he did because they only won one game in the 22-23 season. Last year, would they win 5 or 6?
4.
He's
Five.
keeping.
He was bowl eligible.
So he kept it a buck. He kept it real. He got them moving in the right direction. But what that organization and that school is worried has to take into consideration, they sold out in week 1, all the home games they sold out. Lower the mic. All right, I got the boom up. He's bringing in revenue. He's bringing in revenue, and that's huge.
That's what they pay him to do. They pay him to bring in revenue. So I don't root against him. I just think he needs to be a little more humble in terms of. But it's not him. I know. It's not
I was going to say, Mark, seriously, at this day and age, we can maybe we'll see some humble people and humble guys in certain positions. But when you have college guys that are saying, I'm not doing this at the combine, I'm not doing that. You haven't proven anything at the league yet, but you're dictating what you will and won't do.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the athletes because the teams are allowing you to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I don't get. I don't get it. You're free to say whatever you want, but let it be known, Deion, when it's draft time, if your boys come out, if they're the best one on the board at that time in that position, I don't care if it's Cincy, I don't care if it's Green Bay. They're getting drafted where they're getting drafted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so I was looking at thinking about this. If they don't like where they go, they could sit out. They could, like you mentioned earlier, Chops, pull an Eli Manning. But if the team doesn't want to trade for them, they sit out for the year.
Yeah. And re-enter. Yeah.
Let's sit out. What productive means would that be for them?
Well, here's the thing. Years ago, it would have been a big red flag. But now, to me, athletes are so different because I would have taken it years ago when they're playing. So you would choose rather to sit out and help us become a better organization. You think you're too good for us. That's how I think the old school athletes would have taken it. And even if he'd have sat out and went back into the draft, the next team that drafted him would look at him like a prima donna, like you're coming and thinking you're everything. You haven't proven anything yet. I don't think today's athletes care. The painting their nails. I just want to go home and cuddle with my dog.
Oh, jeez. I thought we've talked enough about that, dude. I don't know. Our guy, Matt Miller, we're airing the Matt Miller show next week. He's really high on him. I can't wait to see how the chips fall with that dude, honestly. Yeah. Hey, our guy, Daniel Barry, checking in again tonight. What's up, Dan?
DB.
This gotta be our guy, Schmitty, right here. Let's go, Bucks. He got a little, let's go Canadians, let's go Flyers. Hey, listen, Schmitty, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I don't even want to see the Penguins in the playoffs. They don't deserve it. With that god-awful power play that all they had to do is score maybe 10 power play goals, and they'd be in third place at least in their division. I'm sorry. But let's go Bucks. Let's go Bucks.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, let's go see them. Let's go. Hey, let's talk about this. Yeah, I will. Let's talk about this. This is the next one that I had on my list. I sent to you guys.
What you got?
It's top 25 NHL players since 2000. Number 1, Connor McDavid. Have you seen that son of a bitch hoist a cup? Have you seen him with the cup in his hand? Even one time.
Hold it. I'll give you that. He hasn't had a cup. But you don't think he's been the best player?
No, I don't. Sidney Crosby's been the best player since he came into the league. Now, maybe the last 5 years, McDavid has transitioned into it, okay? I'll give him that. He's the top scorer in the league. He's a big kid. He skates super fast. But Sidney Crosby continues to do year in and year out what he's been doing since the first day he stepped on the ice. And that's play a 200-foot game, assisting his team and lifting them to another level. The only reason this team is even in the hunt tonight, tomorrow, if those two teams lose, is because Sidney Crosby put them on his back and carried them forward. So, I mean, listen, Ovechkin, he's a great goal scorer, but he's not an all-around player. People can say whatever they want. I don't even want to have the argument. I'll walk away from you. But he is not a great goal scorer. Okay? He's just not. The Ovechkin.
No, he is a great goal scorer.
I'm sorry. He is a great goal scorer. He's not a great all-around player. And that's what I wanted to, I mean, if you're talking top players, you've got to be talking all-around players. Now, after Crosby's, Nicholas Lidstrom. Yeah, I'll buy that. If you remember Nicky Lidstrom, Patrick Kane, he led his team to a couple Stanley Cups. Martin Brodeur, who stood on his head over and over, won cups. Well, you can't say, look, I think this is Schmitty. Injuries will forever plague Crosby's career. He's got 150 less games than Ovechkin, and he still has more points than him. So I don't even want to hear that. That's not even an argumentative point to me. But it just fires me up. It's since 2000.
It gets you hyped.
Listen, if there's ever a guy who should be the face of an organization, a face of a sport, Sidney Crosby is definitely that guy. Never got in trouble one time, plays his hardest, fought his way back from what could have been a career-ending injury after sitting out so many games. And he's still playing at a high level at 36 years old.
Yeah. And
you're right. He's right here.
Yeah.
He's right.
I think your argument with Connor McDavid kind of goes alongside Caitlin Clark. Is she the GOAT of women's basketball? In the conversation that we've had and people are throwing out, no, she hasn't won. She hasn't won the championship. And not to disregard her contribution to the sport and to her team and to all that she's accomplished, but there's something to be said about that ring. And she didn't win it. And it's not just her; it's the team. It's a team sport.
It's going to be better than her team.
But you got to put someone up above them who've hoisted the trophy or put a ring on. That's how I feel too.
Chops, I see you doing this right here. Let's man.
Because here's my thing, fellas. Yes. First off, we're talking team sports. Hockey, basketball. It's not just the ultimate team sport like football is, but they're all team sports. And to me, you can still be one of the greatest guys to do it. But I don't care who you are. You can't play 1-on-11, 1-on-5, 1-on-7. You can't do it. And I personally hate putting championships with who's the greatest. Because they're okay. The most passing yards in one Super Bowl is by Brady, but he lost because his team gave up. So you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that it's hard for me I don't automatically equate championships with greatness. And that's because, I just don't. But when I'm talking the greatness, Caitlin Clark and other players, whatever have you, if you're going to hold the chip against her, you can hold the chip against her. That's not why I don't have her as the greatest, whatever have you playing. But I've never been with that man. And Jordan, to me, seriously, Jordan and Gretzky, but it's not because of the chips. When I say different sports and the greatest in that sport, I'm not even thinking about the chips they won. I'll put it in at some point, whatever. But it's, to me, is all greatness. How you changed the game. Guys came in trying to beat Jordan with those moves and those shots, whatever have you. You know what I mean? Guys came in tucking their shirt in half like Gretzky and going whatever. It just, it's tricky.
Smitty has a good point though, and this is the truth. He'll watch Caitlin Clark because of Caitlin Clark, for what it's worth. Because her team may not win a championship. You see who Chicago got? Angel Reese and the girl from
Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Cardosa, Twin Towers. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
That's going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, it should work miracles for the WNBA. They're already talking about expanding to 16 teams. And you know what? I hope they have success.
Fellas, here's the issue. We've had multiple females, different colors, different ethnicities, be stars. It didn't grow the game. This year, we had more than one star on multiple teams in college, and they were balling at a high level. I hate to be this way, but fellas, do you realize the NBA, maybe hopefully this year, but I know within the last 2 seasons, they've never turned a profit, the WNBA. Never turned a profit. They have never turned a profit. And as much as we want to watch, to me, something just loses going from college to WNBA. And all the other sports, I love watching going from college to the next level. But I don't see that in the WNBA. I don't know why. I don't know.
The way first of all, it's the way it's marketed. Second of all, it's played in the summer. That's two big factors. How much do you sit in the house in the summertime and watch basketball, watch baseball? I can turn on the radio when I'm out fishing and listen to baseball on my earphones, right? I can do that. You. But the WNBA, I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't listen to a basketball game on the radio.
So does WNBA need to try to do what baseball did, regardless if you like the new rules, pitch count, whatever it is? Baseball has tried to do everything they can to get more eyes on it.
We had this conversation on 108 Stitches baseball podcast last night that I'm on with the South Florida Tribune guys. And somebody asked me personally, because I was spouting off a little bit like I do from time to time. Yeah, I know it's a shocker. But anyway, they said, Barber, how would you change baseball? And I said, honestly, the way you change baseball to get people back in the seats is to become more fan friendly. I think baseball players and overall all athletes are so standoffish. Okay. They do some things for publicity. That's it. I remember when we were growing up back in the day in Vandergrift, and the Pirates had the Pirate Brigade that would go to all the small towns, and they put 3 star players on 3 different flatbed trailers, and they drive them through town and have a parade, and then you get autographs. I mean, it was just a thing.
I remember Milwaukee came through.
Yeah. In today's baseball, nothing like that. It doesn't reach. Come on, Mikey.
But we're different fans nowadays. Seriously, even if there were guys you didn't like and they showed up, you might go out, give them the respect. Hey, shake their hand, speak, whatever. Now Cam Newton goes to a camp, gets in a fight. Now guys are throwing batteries or whatever. Boo, boo, you stink, you suck in front of players, families, and what have you. I think a lot of these players aren't getting and being accessible to the public and fans the way fans act nowadays. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, man. To me,
well, that and the fact that if you want to interact with a fan today, if you want to interact with a professional athlete today, it costs you money, and it costs you a lot of money. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Oriole Fest, which they don't have anymore. That took some fans away from being engaged in it. But I don't want to go to Oriole Fest and spend $75, $100 to get an autograph from a guy. Okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want a bullpen reliever's autograph for $100. Sorry, that's not happening. Yeah. Okay, and I'd never do that. All right, there are too many things that work against professional sports today with them being fan friendly. Yes, I get the whole Cam Newton thing. 100% I get it. But Cam Newton he also acts like a freak out there too. And I'd be very standoffish to even engage him. And that's my opinion.
Okay. And I understand that if you want to come at Cam that way. However, let's not forget Cam Steele won a national championship, went to a Super Bowl, was league MVP. Give him
star athlete
for that respect.
Mikey, star athlete.
But forget let's even take the athletes out of it. Every week we are seeing a fight in the stands amongst fans. Yeah, fellas. I mean, and guys are just, and then they'll yell at fans. I bought a ticket. I can say whatever I want. To some degree, okay, but sometimes you're getting personal and overboard. Remember when Sam Cassell ran up into the stands because that dude was going at his daughter. I mean, fans are just going overboard. And if I were a professional athlete,
here's one thing Here's one thing I'll tell you about your comment, though. First of all, let's say give a shout out to our guy Michael Gotham. And he's right. It's
all about the money.
But here's what I'll say about that, Chops. You hold a phone in your hand that has a camera on it. It also has a video camera on it. You take that everywhere. People film every stinking thing they see, and they can make it into whatever they want to.
Yeah.
And that's also what has caused a lot of disconnect between professional athletes and the fans.
I think I think some people do idiotic things just to go viral. I think some people do idiotic things just to go viral.
Yeah.
Yep. Look at us. We act like idiots every Tuesday.
People have
just
podcasts.
to go viral.
Without question.
Hey, I want to talk about one more thing, and then our guys should be coming on. I want to talk about all this stuff going on with Shohei Ohtani. Okay. The whole gambling thing, I don't buy it. I'm sorry, guys. I don't buy that this guy didn't know anything. I don't buy that he was blind to losing 14, 16 million, whatever it is. I just don't buy it. Okay. It doesn't sink well with me. That much money moving out of his account and him not knowing anything about it. All right. And then the second thing I wanted to say is, he hits his first home run. That ball didn't even get into that woman's hands. I mean, like, it didn't even get in her hands, and the people from the Dodgers snatched her up and took her and said, hey, we'll give you another baseball from him. I mean, like, they didn't even let this woman embrace what just happened. And Ohtani, what did he do? I think he signed a baseball and gave it to her some shit. You know what? The other night, Andrew McCutchen of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Philadelphia Phillies, all those teams he played for, he hit his 300th home run in Philadelphia. He was cheered by Philadelphia for the way they cheer, of course, but it landed in the lap of a young boy from Pittsburgh. After the game, his father and the boy came down to the Pirates locker room right after the game, brought him in. McCutchen kneeled down to the kid's eye level, had a conversation with him. He said, hey, is there a mark on that ball from where I hit it? Because, every ball they pitch is brand new. He said, oh, look, check it out. Here's a red mark. That's probably where I hit it at. And he asked him his name, and the kid told him his name. He said, I'll never forget your name. Next thing I know, he's got a bat in his hand, inscribing it to the boy, giving it to the boy. Now, that's 300 home runs for Andrew McCutchen. That's a feat. Let's face it. That's a feat. But the way he handled it and the way the Dodgers handled it with a guy who's only been in Major League Baseball for 4 or 5 years, I mean.
But that goes back to what Gott just made his comment. Everything is corporate now. I don't know what they plan on doing with the ball. You're in LA, out in Hollywood, what have you. And so let's get the ball. And it's his first one. What are they going to do? I don't understand what was the significance of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as you start, like our Facebook user, he's guilty. Let's not forget Ohtani, when he first started, I know I heard him say, or through his translator, when this first started, he helped pay off one of those bets, or one. He didn't know it was for a bet, but he did give the guy some money, whatever have you. I have to look it up, but he didn't know what it was for exactly. And I wish I'd have paid more attention. I just didn't know it was going to go to this. But I felt, no, you knew what it was. You were trying to clean it up then. And now just the more and more and more we're hearing how it's either you were complicit or you were just, you're just dumb as hell. I mean, seriously. And it just,
he hasn't used his, I read recently where he hasn't used his interpreter in 2 years.
Well, let's put it this way. I had seen in the dugout him talking to a couple other players. Now you couldn't whatever have you. And it wasn't long, but whatever it is, he was saying something and nobody was interpreting. You know what I mean? So
yeah. This is Major League Baseball trying to make him trying to continue his superstardom.
They're trying to make him the face of it and save the sport if it needs saving, but they're definitely trying to make him the face of it.
That's a whole nother show for us guys. I got to be honest with you. That's a whole nother show. I've got such a sour taste in my mouth from what he has done already since he's joined the Dodgers. It's going to be hard for me to.
Baseball growing up was my favorite sport. I'm naive to the fact of everything that's going on. But when as much as come out about what people have done with, steroids, performance enhancing, it was just to help with an injury. I didn't know. You have to know something, guys. You can't be, you can't be dumb about this. Tyler Glasnow, former Bucko, pitching with the Dodgers, saying that Ohtani is kind of unfazed about it, because he knows that he's innocent and he didn't know any of this was going on. And I shared with you, maybe I wouldn't know if my wife had an offshore account taking some money planning for her retirement whenever I'm done, and I wouldn't know, but you would know. You have to know. 16 million.
But like you said, T, your wife set up the account. This is his account with his name on it. Here's what bothers me. These professional sports come out with these stories and they think we'll believe anything. They just think we'll believe anything. Even when the official blew the call for the Cowboys, was the Cowboys when they were playing the Lions, and he said he did or he did not. Right, we saw him go to and speak to the referee. Right. The referee's like, no, he didn't report it. Fellas, don't lie to us. We see what's going on. That's what bothers me. How these leagues try to come out with just blatant lies that we can't get.
Here he goes, Smitty. Smitty's saying, wait, that's Junior. Oh, Junior Wells. What's up, Junior? Good to see you. Junior. What up, Junior? Hey, he says, what? Ohtani give the dude access to his bank account? That's where he's lost at. And I can see that. Like that, you know what? Even if the guy has access to his account,
shouldn't Ohtani have to sign off on everything?
Hey, even if I was a billionaire, man, and I'm gonna be 100, I'm gonna be a buck with you, okay? I'm gonna be a buck with you. Even if I was a billionaire, I would want to see my bank statements from time to time. Yeah. I would want to see my bank statements. What's this dude doing? 16 million bucks is gone. You've never seen a bank statement to question why it's gone? That's bullshit. It's Major League Baseball who's covering it up. They don't want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. All those old coots that vote for the Hall of Fame, they don't want him in there. And Major League Baseball told him to shut up about it. They're going to push Ohtani on.
What about the parents who are custody of their kids' accounts, who are athletes, who are actors, and they're taken from them? Those kids growing up throughout the years don't have access to it, and they don't know about it, and they're saying, well, I didn't know that money was missing. And then they're thinking they're sitting on some dough. They come out, they're of age, and then all of a sudden they don't got no money.
Nope. You're right, but again, those were kids who was leaving everything to mom and dad, and they had no idea. Ohtani's a grown man.
Hey, listen, it gets a little bit deeper than that, okay? Jack Johnson, who played for the Penguins, he went and played for Colorado last year, won a Stanley Cup with them. He played for the Kings. He played for Columbus. At some point early in his career, his parents cleaned him out.
Yeah.
And he cut his parents off. He doesn't even have a relationship with them. They cleaned out his bank account when he hit the big and was getting money.
That's dirty. That's dirty poker. To do that to your own child.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, though, is this guy had access to it, and he just took it. And so Ohtani's saying, I didn't know about it. He didn't know about the gambling. So there's like some misconnect here.
Man, I wish I could go back to ESPN and all those stories when it first came out.
You could probably find them.
Came out. I'm going to have to, because I know.
Go on YouTube, because everything's on YouTube.
Ah, there you go.
I just completely lost respect for him.
We're on YouTube.
I find it impossible to believe that somebody wouldn't know that they're missing $16 million. And that, at the end of the day, that was before he actually became big with the Dodgers and was able to cash those paychecks. He was smart because he pushed all his money off to the end.
Yeah.
Everything is backloaded.
Do you think maybe this is some ammunition this is the reason why he didn't want to get this deposited? He knew this guy's going to blow through it.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Fellas, and we'll never know the truth. We'll never, ever, ever know the truth. I just find it hard. 16 million. He didn't steal a 20 out of his wallet. 16 million.
Yep.
I'm not buying it. The price is
30 for 30.
I'm not buying it.
Hey, hopefully this is our last spontaneous reaction, and our guy Jermaine's going to join us here. But recently, what's her name? Leah Thomas, formerly a male swimmer, now a female swimmer, has come out and said that I'm not sure what pronoun to use, but that we'll call her they want to swim in the Olympics for the women's side. And all the ladies are like, no, that's not happening. No. The Olympic Committee is like, no, that's not going to happen. And I can't remember which one specifically. He challenged one of them, though, one of the better swimmers. He challenged her, and he said, I'm tired of this. If you think you can beat me, let's swim. And I'm just thinking to myself, wait a minute, dude. And I am thinking, dude, you want to swim against a woman. You already got extra male testosterone compared to her. Even though you're feeling female, you still have male testosterone, essentially. And you want to go ahead and challenge her? I think that the line in the sand needs to be drawn with transgenders playing opposite sports.
Absolutely. What's her name? Riley Gaines? Is it Riley Gaines who is?
That's exactly who it was. It was Roddy Gaines. Yep.
She is huge on. She will fight anybody who is trying. If you want transgender, she's trying to get it out. She is trying to get it out. And again, I don't have all the numbers, but wasn't he lower ranked as a male swimmer? He
was ranked like 400 and something.
And then he flips it to become a female, and he just is ridiculous. I mean, I don't get, and here's the thing. It's people that aren't participating, the ones that saying, yeah, let him swim. Because the participants are telling you flat out, we don't want him. We don't want him. You know what I mean? We don't want him here, whatever you want to say, whatever have you. And I know some people, and I hear it, Michael, no, you have to call them what they want to be called, this, that, and other. My thing is that you do what you want. Just like I can do what I want, I can say whatever. I'm allowed to think what I want. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. I can have the freedom to be what I want to be. I don't have the freedom to tell you how to be. I can ask you to refer to me as Big Brother Almighty, the old handsome one, Michael Mills. But if you don't say, just a kid from the heights. If that's how I can't force you to address me how I want to feel. You know what I'm saying?
So that's you in your realm. But guess what? If you're in another realm, that changes. That really, really changes. And I respect all young people and whatever they want to, however they feel, whatever they're thinking. But I think for you to challenge to swim, in this instance, to swim at the highest level, it's kind of an unfair advantage in my opinion. And I don't know. Maybe you have an all transgender. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But I know that Roddy Gaines got pissed. I know
Roddy was. Even if the U.S. says, okay, we'll let you compete, and he makes it, how's the rest of the world going to act? How's the rest of the world going to be there on the stage? Will the other women of the other countries, will they even step up to the blocks? You know what I mean? Or will they just protest the whole thing? Then, you know what I mean? Then
didn't the NCAA just pass a transgender?
Yeah, man.
I think part of that ruling was that, and I was looking it up, that person has to prove their testosterone level, which Barbara was mentioning, that if it's too high, it gives them an unfair advantage, right? So that seems to be an iffy.
There was a female
in the ruling.
There was a female runner. Was it Jamaica? Jamaica. I'm not sure where she was from. Kenya. I saw it on Real World Sports, and she did look like a man. But of course, now every picture, birth certificate, they had her saying she was born a natural woman. She was a woman, but her testosterone was high, and they said she suffered from something. But in her defense, yes, they showed her in pictures as a little girl. She was born a girl, whatever have you. And she said, I'll show you my genitalia from whenever. But fellas, she was diesel. She did look like a man. They weren't letting her run in her own country. They were not allowing her to run against women in her own country.
You hear Chappelle's shtick on this is hilarious. And don't get us wrong here, guys. We're in support of everybody, but there has to be a fair playing field here. But Chappelle's shtick on is like, okay, let's say LeBron James says he's a woman. Do we let him go out and play against the men, and then all the men are getting beat by a woman? Or do we let him go out and score 10,000 points in the WNBA?
Yeah.
It was funny, but you have to think about the level playing field.
And that's really what it is. That's
what we're
really
trying to advocate for in support of transgender people, that wherever they're playing, whatever side they're playing on, no pun intended, that it's level and it's fair.
Yeah, that's all. That, it's all about fairness. I mean, we talk about inequality across the country. All right, that would be to me, that's an unfair advantage. I'm okay with who you are as a person, but I think making that move like that and competing against the way you're feeling instead of what you naturally are, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I don't have a horse in the race here, but
no,
I support anybody based on what they think and feel.
I can't stress it enough. To me, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's the food you eat, the music you listen to. I really don't care what someone else does next. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. You just don't get to force me to feel or acknowledge what you feel or what you want. I don't have to. We don't all like the same music. We don't all like the same movies. No matter how much my wife tells me Harry Potter's a great movie, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like Harry Potter. But I don't look at Harry Potter, people that like Harry Potter, with I don't want to. When I don't look at people that are transgender with just hate and disgust. No, that's what you want to do. Do it, fine. I don't care. But I don't have hate for transgenders. I don't have hate for gays. I don't know. You're doing what you want to do. That's fine. But just like if I have a guy who says my best friend loves the Ravens, I'm never going to say the Ravens are the best team in the league. He loves them. We just don't agree on that. We don't hate each other. I don't talk bad about him. I don't wish him dead. I don't wish anybody ill will on anyone. Do what you want to do, but just don't assume that I'm agreeing with it. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's 100 right there.
Straight up and down like 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with you.
Yes,
I agree with you. Well, we're just waiting on Jumaine to jump on here, and hopefully it's going to be very soon. I got a text from him. I think he lost track of time. He's a busy dude, and I get it.
Oh man,
I get it.
He is. He's always going to go. Hey, real quick, while we have a minute or so, did you see? And Austin Maple Leaves. He was going for his 70th. Okay, yeah. And his coach said he let it be known that was a distraction for us, him trying to get his 70th. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd already clinched the playoff berth. Do you think it was necessary to say that? And not that it's a huge deal, but they made a deal because they're talking about it. He said it was that was a distraction for us. And again, you're trying to get a guy a 70th goal. I understand. I don't know. Was it a big deal to you that he mentioned it? Do you think was it worth mentioning?
Listen, at the end of the day, to score 70 goals in a season is tremendous because that doesn't happen all the time anymore.
No.
It just doesn't. Now they've taken fighting out of the game, so the bully's gone and the skill level has gone up quite a bit. We're faster, stronger, bigger, but there's no reason they should have backed off on him scoring that 70th goal. Just let the guy get his just due. He had a hell of a season, and he deserves that. The only unfortunate piece is they'll get bounced in the first round like they do every year. And I actually like the Maple Leafs. Yeah. That's the problem. I like
the Oilers.
Yeah,
I said they'll get bounced in the first.
It's sad. It's really sad because if you look at the makeup of that team, it is a team that is built to win. More
Can't
so
get
than
it done.
Edmonton. More than Edmonton. Hey, Jumaine should be joining us here in a second. You want to go ahead and do his intro because he's jumping on right now.
Yeah. Yes, I'm excited about this guy. Man, let's quick accolades. High school parade All-American. Freshman of the year at UGA. Led the SEC in scoring as a sophomore. First round draft pick. 8 NBA seasons. 8 seasons overseas. 16-year professional career. Now he is a published author. He is big on mental health, and he will help anyone, and he's big on mental health. Let's give it up for my guy, Jumaine Jones.
What's going on, Jumaine?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What's up, Jay, my man?
I like those letters before your name. Thank you. Congratulations.
The good doctor. Oh, we can call you Dr. J, huh?
That's what I call myself. Nobody else calls me that.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight, man. We're very excited to talk your life in the pros, your life after the pros, and what you think of the game today. So go ahead, Chop, that's your guy. Kick us off.
Yeah, Jumaine, what's going on? I know what's going on. Real quick, man. A lot of people, everybody knows, born and raised in Florida and then moved to Georgia. Can you get down at what people don't realize? What was the reason you end up going? Because I really liked your background. I think more people really need to know that from where you started to where you came.
Well, from the part of Florida I'm from, it's called Cocoa, Florida, which was probably top 20 in murder rates in the state of Florida during the time that I was living there. It was a drug-infested neighborhood at the time, very violent, a lot of drug deals going on, just surrounded by a lot of negativity in the neighborhood. But, I survived it through the fact that, my mom was pretty disciplined. You know what I mean? Like, she was pretty disciplined, but there was also a lot of things that I seen, being the fact that she worked 2 jobs as a single mother. She just couldn't, keep up, with a lot of things that was going around in the community because she was trying to take care of 2 kids on her own. So just going through that process and, witness a murder at 13 years old was really the big move for me. When my mom was like, listen, man, you just know too much too early, during your young life, man. I want to give you an opportunity. So she decided to give me a move after I witnessed a murder. Probably one of the best things that ever happened to me throughout my time, to be able to move to a small town called Camilla, Georgia.
Man, now, with this, did you play much basketball in Florida? Where were you?
I didn't start playing basketball till I was 11 years old. I didn't even like basketball at all. Like, my family, we're a football state. All my cousins and my friends played football, and it's intriguing. Well, most of them did, because the thing that really got me to playing basketball was that, when I went outside, all my friends was at basketball practice. So that's one of the things that got me intrigued on, let me go try this game out. And, it was, the first day that I played, went to practice for basketball, I fell in love with it. And, the rest is history from there.
Wow. Looks gorgeous where you are. Where are you living now? Georgia?
I just moved to Orlando. I've been here almost a month now. I moved back to Orlando. My youngest daughter, she just, I always said, I got 4 kids in college now in Pennsylvania. So I figured once she graduated, I would move back home. Those joints get a little, they get a little tougher to move around when you're in that cold. So I had to get back down to the
Oh,
good
yeah.
weather.
Well, you're closer to Disney, so that's smart. You got that in-state rate to Disney. All right, I see you. Hey, thanks for sharing that background. Can you give us a little bit of experience coming out of Georgia, getting ready for the draft? What was that experience like for you?
It was a tough experience, just even from the beginning, because I had no intentions on leaving school early. I was leading the SEC in scoring. I was second in the SEC in rebounds. And a lot of scouts was reaching out to me, telling me I was going to be a lottery pick. And then they fired the coach at University of Georgia at the time, and the coach Jim Herrick came in. So when he came in, you know, I was going through my process, but never in my mind I was thinking that I was leaving University of Georgia. So I just wanted to meet with him because my oldest daughter was about to be born during that time. So I just wanted to meet with him to let him know the things that I, you know, had coming on, and hopefully, you know, I can get some help with the things that I needed help with. And he ended up telling me, like, Jumaine, if you leave school right now, you'll be pumping gas in 10 years. And that's what motivated me to leave. And I left is because I never believed what people thought of me, or I never believed what people said about me. So when he told me that, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, pumping gas in 10 years, and I put it on the wall. So every morning I woke up, man, that was my motivation to be able to kill the workouts, and was going to make sure that I played longer than 10 years professionally.
That self-fulfilling prophecy that you were not going to live up to.
Hey, Jumaine, I love that story. I'm going to tell you a little story of my own. It's nowhere near where you were. But when I was a kid, I was in 10th grade, and I played a pretty, our high school football was like pretty high caliber in Western PA. And this one guy who was a senior going to the University of Pittsburgh, he used to bust my chops all the time. And he did the same thing to me. He told me, you'll never see the field ever. And I started my junior year after that. In my senior year, it motivated me. And I know 100% what you mean by that. What was your most memorable moment playing in the league?
Oh, man, it was two. To be honest with you, it was two memorable moments. And it's funny that it really resonated with the, you know, with the story I was just telling you, because when I was playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, he coached Lamar Odom at Rhode Island, him and Cuttino Mobley. And so he was in the back with us, you know, when we was coming out. And he asked me, did I remember who he was? And I looked at him, and I had like this biggest smile on my face. And I was like, first of all, do I remember you? I was like, I just want to shake your hand because you're the reason I'm wearing this Laker uniform. And I just walked away from him, and I still don't know to this day if he remembered what he said to me. But like, for me,
oh man,
No.
oh man,
Oh,
technical difficulties.
For me,
Technical difficulties.
that was really fulfilling. One of the most memorable moments. And the other one probably be just starting to hear my name in the starting lineup, you know, for the 76ers playing against the Lakers.
And that's in the series.
Man, I just got chills you saying that. That's got to be awesome.
Man,
Congratulations.
real quick, Jay, if you can give, because I've heard the story when we talked, but if you can tell them when you're in Philly with Larry Brown, and if you even want to run down real quick how you got there, because nobody even knows, because like you said, you were supposed to be a lottery pick. If you can tell them real quick how that went down, what you were thinking, how you ended up getting to Philly, and after your first couple of practices, you're getting buckets. What Larry Brown said to you and how that all worked out, so everybody can get a feel how the NBA really works.
Yeah, it was very humbling. You know, first of all, when I left and put my name in the draft after the guy went and did all that, and everybody projected me to be a lottery pick. And you know, they even invited me to DC. You know, they only invite you if you're a lottery pick. So I got it in. You know, sitting in on that time. It's crazy because I just so happened to have a workout in Philadelphia, and had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with Larry Brown, you know, because they had just got done practicing. And we probably sat down and talked for like an hour and a half, and it was so memorable to me because, you know, we just came from watching Allen Iverson's statue reveal. So, you know, it was so humbling to see him again and how happy we were to see each other because it had been a while. But, you know, going through that process with him and having that conversation, he was like, Jumaine, man, I really very intrigued by you, man, and I think you're gonna be a great player. He was like, he said, look, he said, unfortunately, we won't have an opportunity to draft you. He was like, you seem like a great kid, and it was crazy. So, like, my name was the last name being called, and you know, my agent called me And he said, man, I don't know what you did to Larry Brown, man, but he's been trying to call up with teams that's in the lottery pick to try to trade up in hopes of trying to get you. And I was like, really? So, I like to tell kids, you never know. I always try to treat everybody the way I want to be treated and be nice to everybody, because I probably when he got drafted around, I didn't have that conversation with Larry Brown where it wasn't even nothing about basketball at all. We just having a normal conversation about life and things, as far as work ethic and stuff like that. So I got drafted off the simple fact that, Larry Brown sat down and had a conversation with me, man. And I ended up being drafted the 27th pick because, they did all these tests on me and they thought I had sickle cell. So I dropped in the draft because I have sickle cell traits. And, going through that process and, dropping in the NBA, if you're, if you're not drafted where you're supposed to be, everybody else looking at you like something wrong with him. Why he get drafted? So, getting that opportunity to play with Larry Brown was also humbling because, I'm thinking like I've been a scorer my entire life. I led the SEC in scoring. I was averaging like 35 in high school and doing all these things scoring-wise. And then my first day of practice, I'm thinking they draft me to help Allen Iverson score. He pulls me over and he was like, look here, young fella, if you want to play for me, you got to find something else to do. And it was probably one of the most humbling things I had, told to me, because it wasn't that I couldn't do other things. It was just the fact, like, I had never been asked to do anything but score. And luckily, I had really good veterans on the team, far as, Eric Snow and Aaron McKee. Those guys were sitting there like, look here, man, I know that was probably for you, to try to make these adjustments. But if you want to play for Larry Brown, you got to work hard every day and keep doing the things you're doing and play deep and get on the court. So that was one thing. It was tough for me, but a lot of times in life, you got to reinvent yourself or be able to, change your role.
Oh, wait a minute. I just heard you say something that we do not see in today's NBA. They asked you to play defense. They play defense.
Yeah, man, it's a little bit different.
Hey, thanks for representing.
Probably about a couple of days ago, I was telling somebody the difference between the Michael Jordan era was like you gotta you could do your forearm on the prep, and I was like, during my era, we had to go out with an open hand, and I'm like, no, you can't touch anybody.
Sure can. Sure.
Open hand, you got the forearm.
I mean, I'm not going to drop LeBron's name, but if you even breathe on him, he's falling. I mean, I'm just saying. Hey, what was it like, Jumaine? Did you play with Kobe and Shaq?
No, I was with Kobe when they first traded Shaq to Miami. That's how I got to play with Lamar. It was Lamar and Caron Butler and a couple other guys that came over in that trade from Miami. So I didn't get a chance to play with Shaq.
That must have been incredible playing with Kobe, though. Talk about somebody who dominated the game.
Man, it was crazy story about Kobe, man. I tell people my first week of going there, the first practice I do, man, 2 hours early, Kobe Bryant was already in sweat. And I sit there and I was like, man, I wonder what time Kobe got there. And so the next day I was like, oh, I'm going early. What time Kobe there? And it became, I show up 3 hours early that week, and every day we was. So the next week I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. And I went 4 hours before practice, man. Kobe was still at practice drenched in sweat before I got there, man. So even to this day, I don't know what time Kobe got to practice. But then I asked him one day, I was like, Kobe, man, what do you think about people that think that you're selfish and you don't pass the ball? And he was, Jumaine, the day that I started worrying about what other people think of me is the time that I'm missing trying to be one of the best players in the world. And he was like, man, you see how I work and my work ethic, Jumaine. He was like, man, I watch these guys come in an hour before practice and they leave right after practice. He was like, why would I pass them the ball? I don't trust them. Is
So
what he
from that
told me.
point on, is that when you started going in 3, 4, 5 hours early?
Well, I was the person that was going because I just wanted to see what time Kobe got there. I was always the 2 hour guy. And then the fact that, for him to say he didn't trust people because how much he worked and he noticed that they wasn't, and he was saying he didn't trust them. I was like top 20 in 3-point percentage that year because I was always the second person. So I guess he trusted me a little bit.
I've heard that story before in a similar story. And one of my other favorite stories that I've been seeing a lot is the Olympic team. And he said, I'm going to set the standard right now. And he ran through Paul Gasol's chest. And it was his own teammate. He just plowed right through him. He said, watch, I'm going to lay his ass out. And that guy had a whole different mentality.
I mean, there was something just different about Kobe and about Michael Jordan and their competitive level compared to guys who play today, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to X's and O's, man, like Kobe was different, man. And I never seen anybody like he the first player that I ever seen grab a clipboard and erase the coach's play and draw his own play up. You know what I mean? And like and it worked. And we went, and he would tell us like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna do that. I'm gonna go here, Jumaine, you set a screen here, I'm gonna come off of here, I'm gonna shoot this 3, and then we're gonna go in overtime, and then we're gonna win it. And that's what happened. Exactly what he drew up, and we would go in. And I was like, man, this guy's just a little bit different than most.
Yeah. Okay, so you played with Iverson in Philly, Kobe in LA. Did you play with Paul Pierce in Boston? Okay, and those are you. When you think of basketball and the franchises, you played with LA, played in Philly, and you played with Boston. Top 3 organizations.
Mm-hmm.
What,
yeah, they was actually.
Go ahead.
No, it's funny. A lot of Philly been getting a lot of backlash on the, the statue of Allen Iverson, man, and it offended me a little bit, man, because I known Philadelphia to be one of the top organizations in the NBA, and to see how people was going in on the organization, it was crazy, and it let me know like a lot of people didn't really know and understand. The 76ers don't own the Wells Fargo Center, and they don't own the practice facility. So it's a lot that they don't have control of, but they will have a life-size statue of Allen Iverson when they move into the new building because they will actually own that. And, all the statues that are out in front of the practice facility are all the same size. And I think people was being upset about it because, he was doing a crossover. So, he wasn't as tall as the other ones because he's actually bending over to be able to do a crossover. So in their defense, man, they've been taking care of me, since '99. You know what I mean? And I've been, long retired, and I think they're still one of the best organizations. And if they can represent Allen Iverson any way possible, trust me, they would do it if they were making the calls.
Okay, and we are going to get into the mental health and you and the author being a published author, but real quick, as you've played for those great organizations, what are the one or two, if you had any, what are the one or two organizations that weren't as good, or were there any trash organizations?
I mean, I would never say it's a trash organization because the fact that it's always going to be organizations that are more organized and more controlled and more experienced because they've been around a little longer. One organization that I really enjoyed playing for was the Bobcats. Bob Johnson he was the first black owner in the NBA. So to get that opportunity to play with him, I wouldn't say that it was a bad organization. It was just like something new for him, coming in from, doing music. And, anytime you're going into something new, it's going to be a learning process. So
absolutely,
I think that was more of a learning process. I wouldn't say it was bad, but, it was in the beginning stages.
I got you.
Let me ask you about the game today. In all seriousness, what's your take on it? How do you feel about it? It's different, obviously, than when you played. So how do you view it now?
Well, I mean, I love the game. That's what the game of basketball is supposed to do, is grow. I mean, I'm big on growth in anything. As a human being, a growth, and I'm all big on trying to be better every single day. So why would the game stay the same? I'm big on everything progressing, especially in something that I really enjoy watching and still enjoy doing. It is different. Of course, they make a lot more money, and the game has changed where people are investing, a lot of money worldwide. The NBA is expanding. They're building training facilities in different countries to be able to train these guys, and I think it's just more business than it's ever been with the game of basketball now. And the simple fact is, a lot of these guys are coming from these different countries, and what people are not realizing, you got guys like Yao Ming and Luka Doncic and the Greek Freak that's coming in. People don't understand when the people in their country want to watch them play. That's $99 every time for whoever want to watch them through the NBA pass, because that's the only way that they can see it. So that's the business side of basketball that people don't understand, and that's why the NBA will always be global and always be one of the highest grossing sports ever, because it's global, and they're doing everything in their power to be able to make it grow. And that's why the game changed so much, because to be honest with you, the Europeans and people in those different countries are way more skilled than Americans. We're just athletically gifted. And, they cleaned the game up to try to be able to open it up for those skilled players so that they can make more money to be able to get them kind of guys in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, were you going to say something, Chops?
Well, just on that, Jumaine, though, what you see now, they're used, like, whether it was Gary Payton, the glove, he was known for his defense, Rodman, other guys that were hard on the boards. Now we're having more 50-point games than we've ever seen before in single seasons, but we don't have now. Wemby is doing his thing and he's getting his blocks and but that, and I understand that it changes, but that's the only thing that bothers me. And it doesn't have to be the defense that we saw from the 80s where you're getting a forearm to the chest. But right. I mean, guys, that's what bothers me. You know what I mean? Now, again, you see it on a different level than we do, but us regular common Joes, I don't see any defense.
Well, they make it hard to play defense. Like if a guy's coming down the lane, like a guy like Joel Embiid that comes in, I think he's somebody that you got to bump him at the 3-point line. Now that's a foul. So how are you supposed to guard a guy that's walking down to be able to get position wherever he's comfortable? How can you stop him from getting there if you can't, impede his progress? So, it makes it impossible to be the defender that people can be. So, and I tell people all the time, you being able to block shots and being able to get a lot of steals don't make you a great defender.
Yeah.
Like we see highlights. We see Wembanyama throw it off the backboard and just throw it down. But meanwhile, guys are going like this, watching them go do it. And I think that's what we're seeing the highlights. We're just seeing ESPN. We don't see everything. Because I can't remember last game. The barber and I went to, we saw Jordan in DC, and that was how long ago? I mean,
we live.
I was still in the league then, man.
We live an hour from DC,
and probably the reason why is because we're not we're from Pittsburgh, all three of us here, so we don't have a basketball mentality, so to speak. But that was the last game. We saw some defense, but
y'all near Pittsburgh, man. My son goes to Westminster College.
Oh yeah,
Westminster, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's where my son is playing. He actually just entered the portal. He averaged like 20-something points last year.
Did he play with the Langs? Guy I worked with, both of his sons played at Westminster.
Yeah.
Tom Lang.
Yeah, he did the last 2 seasons. Yeah.
So he's up there with those Pennsylvania weathers, significantly different than Georgia.
He's right on that Ohio border too.
Well, I got 4 kids in college in Pennsylvania.
What other schools?
State rates.
I got 2 at Temple. One's she actually get her white jacket in dental school at the end of this month, and my youngest daughter, she's 18. She's gonna be doing volleyball and high jump at Temple, and one's at Cheney University.
Okay, Cheney.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hats
And I
off
was,
to
I
Is
was,
you.
there
I
two?
was, and it's funny we talking about Cheney because I was just giving somebody some education on Cheney University on how, it came about. Because
Wow.
it's the first HBCU that's been there, and I think a lot of people never knew the history behind it.
Let's talk just a little bit before we move in and let you get some time to yourself. But let's talk about your transition from playing basketball professionally to life after retirement. Mental health, physical health, all the things that you encounter.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of things with me. I think I had quite a few issues before basketball. So after I retired from the game of basketball, I went through like a 3-year depression where nobody knew where Jumaine Jones was. I was just in a depression. Basketball is something that I played my entire life, but what it did was dedicate myself to the game of basketball. I kind of allowed it to identify who I am.
Mm.
And once it was over with, it's almost like, who is Jumaine Jones? So I went through that identity crisis of trying to figure out who I am and what I represent. And, I never knew that I had a bad childhood growing up. And, going through that 3-year process was something that helped me identify that because I wanted to be better. End up going to counseling, probably the best thing ever happened to me. For me to find myself, because all they did was ask me about my childhood. And I was like, man, I'm not going to get anything out of this. So, I found out, a lot of things that I experienced as a kid that just wasn't good, that was traumatic. And I'm openly, to talk about it and go through the.
Oh,
Dang.
we lost.
We can't hear you.
I'm like, yeah. He doesn't even know.
Man.
Doctor, we can't hear you.
He's on his phone.
Yeah. Man.
This is good stuff.
I know it is too, actually.
And this is
Man.
what I wanted to hear. Can you text him, tell him we can't hear him?
Yeah. Yep.
Probably can't see us going like this.
And now it looks like he's free. Man. Of course, when it's getting good, technical difficulties killing us, killing us.
Yeah. What do I do?
Can he see us?
No, I think I'll drop him out.
Yeah. And I'll text him, let him know we lost.
Yeah. I'm just going to put him down low. I'll put him down low like that. Man,
okay.
It's been.
Hey, I imagine a lot of athletes who played that long, who played, childhood to 16 years or whatever, when it's all they've got, all their life. I don't want to say that's all they got, but that's their life. And like he said, that defines him, how hard it is to find yourself then after. That's got to be a lot of people, a lot of athletes.
And I wish, man, it stinks that we went out like that because he got it. He was going to get into, just talking to the doctor, the therapist, how it came about and what he had seen. And it was some good stuff, man. It was some real good stuff.
He's still talking.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see him. He's giving us the whole. He's giving us the whole lowdown. I hate to put him back on the stage because we can't hear him.
I know.
But we'll have him back on, Chops. That's what we'll have to do. We'll have to have him back on because that was good material. That was great to hear his story. He sounds like a remarkable father too, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just listen to what he said in terms of his own kids and where their successes are to this point, it's just amazing. Let me see if we got him back. Did we get you back, Jumaine? No. No. Something wrong with the we can't hear him. He has no clue either. He's telling us the story.
All right. So,
well, who do you like in the NBA? Oh, there it is. He got it. Jumaine, can you hear us?
I don't think. I just tried to text him, letting him know. Man, here's what I don't get. I think the Pelicans won 50 games this year. Now they're right back about to play the Lakers tonight. Are they playing now or about to play?
Yeah, the 9 and 8 team. It's the
Yeah.
play. They got the play in.
I think it's ridiculous that teams lost so many games this year and they got in the playoffs in the NBA. I don't know how much I like this play-in stuff. I'm not good with it. I think that you're giving an unfair advantage to the teams that work really hard to win and position themselves in the playoffs to get a bye and all that stuff.
Man, Jumaine, can you hear us? I
think he can hear us. We can't hear him.
Yeah.
You must have us on mute on your end.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Check your phone.
Are you, fellas, between from playing games to the finals, how many series will you watch? Different series, or will you just pick a game here and there? Will you?
I will. That's what I'll do. I'll pick various games to watch and see, who's looking good, who isn't. Will Denver repeat? I doubt Denver repeats, to be honest with you. I don't think they have the firepower to do it 2 years in a row. I mean, they have a great team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking them down, but it does take a little luck to be injury free, to run deep.
Yeah.
It does. It does. I'll give you that. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
A lot of people think that because the Lakers got to the play-in, they get to win 2 games in the play-in, that if they get by that series, that they'll go on a run. I don't see it.
I mean, the play-in's kind of neat. It gives those other teams on the bubble a chance, but like you said, teams lost 50 games. Come on. Or won 50 games. Sorry,
but the play-in is the regular 82 season.
Right.
You know what I mean? And at some
that
point,
is play-in.
It's
like what baseball did just to expand it. They're just trying to expand it. And to answer your question, how many series? Well, I won't watch a whole series. I'll probably watch games. And to be honest, this is pretty much when I start watching NBA.
Yeah.
Because this is when you see them go full tilt.
But go ahead, Mark.
If Wemby's on, I'm watching.
Fellas, but again, here he's 7 foot forever. Those guys, him, Chet, they should be watching everything.
The Spurs didn't make it.
No, but he's just saying he watches Wemby.
Yeah, I like him. I like what he's got. He's going to get some meat on those bones after this year. He had a great rookie season.
I think it's Boston's year.
Whose?
Boston.
You know what? Honestly, fellas, I love Doc Rivers. Don't understand why the Bucks got rid of the coach when they did to bring in Doc Rivers. And again, no disrespect. I love Doc Rivers. Always loved him.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers, I don't want to say has the history of, but his teams were always coming up short. So why do you fire the guy who was doing it for the first half of the season to bring in the guy for the second half of the season where his teams normally fall short then?
Yeah.
I didn't get that. And it stinks because I was torn because I wanted to see Milwaukee do good and do well because I like Doc. But on the other hand, I was like, the coach that they fired wasn't coaching poorly. They were winning at the time. I just didn't get that.
And when Doc came in, they weren't winning though. That they were struggling when Doc.
They were struggling. Yeah, but again, but they weren't out of it. It's not like they were in last place. You know what I mean? When I say winning, they weren't leading everything, but they weren't so many games out of it they couldn't do something.
I'd like to see another NBA championship like we had a couple years ago when Phoenix was in it. and we just kind of got a surprise with Phoenix and Milwaukee. We weren't expecting that necessarily. I would like to see that. I think that's good for the game. I think that's the way you keep the game growing. I think if baseball had that parity, if football had a little more parity where certain teams wouldn't dominate in football.
Hockey has it.
Yeah, hockey definitely has it. It is such a toss-up. Somebody asked me last week on the baseball podcast who I thought was going to win it, and I said, I don't know, Colorado, maybe. The Rangers look decent this year. Vancouver looks strong. Like it's a toss-up. You don't know who's going to get hot, and that's the one sport where if you get hot, it let all hell break loose.
Like
You get hot, you're healthy, obviously, but you got that goaltender standing on their head who's blocking everything.
He's got to still won a game.
I think it's about the goaltender in the playoffs.
Yep, he's got to still one game a series.
You don't think there's parity in the NFL? Because other than Mahomes, we're getting all kind of other, guys in the NFC, whatever. So I think it's just Mahomes. That cat
I do, but the dominant teams, Patriots, I do.
Patriots controlled the 2000 to 2000 what? They controlled the AFC for the longest time.
It's kind of like our discussion that's going to come out next week, talking about how the UFL has made some rule changes that will, change the dynamics of professional football if they get applied by the NFL inevitably. I mean, what we're going to see is some really interesting things that happen, some interesting players stand out, and some big paydays. Hey, you never know. We might see the 2 quarterback system. So, hey, T-Sizz, what do you got for us tonight?
Sizzles Quizzle. All right. Hey, today they announced that Kawhi Leonard filled the 12th spot on the Olympics for the 2024 Olympics. The other guys, I'll just name them: LeBron James, Steph Curry, Durant, Embiid, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Bam Adebayo, and Tyrese Halliburton. All right. I don't know if I'd call this the dream team, but do you remember the players for the dream team? Can you name the starting 5? Can you name anybody?
Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing,
Pippen, Stockton,
Karl Malone,
Bird.
Who's the other 3-point shooter they had?
Christian Laettner was there.
The only college player, remember?
Yes, because they thought Shaq should have been there. People thought Shaq was a better college player and thought he should have been there over Laettner.
Yeah, they were 100.
Yeah.
Everyone you mentioned, these are some you missed. Did you say David Robinson?
No.
Patrick Ewing.
I got
marked it apart.
Clyde the Glide.
That's who I was thinking of.
Yes,
Clyde Drexler.
Johnny Stockton.
Chops got him.
Chris Mullin and Charles Barkley.
Chris Mullin was a solid shooter, man. He was a solid cat.
After a 12-pack.
Yes. Yeah, he get it up in now.
Here's a story for you. Not last year, but the year before, Vincent and I went to the National Sports Car Convention. We were standing over by the stage. There was something going on, and Vincent was getting free shit. And I looked beside me, and I'm like, damn, that's Tim Hardaway. And then I looked. Yeah, it was Run TMC. It was
serious?
Yeah. I got a picture. Vincent and I got a selfie with Hardaway. We saw Chris Mullin back in the corner talking to some people. My man looks old.
Does he?
That alcohol beat him down. It was pretty cool. It was one of the, and Mitch Richmond was there too. We saw Mitch as well. Run TMC. That was something that I was trying to explain to Vincent how cool that was, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, Dad."
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
But hey, fellas, go ahead and give them your social media. Let's wrap up the show. And again, we're sorry that
I know it was going to be man.
My guy, the reliever, had a good question I wanted to throw out for him too. Who his mentors, who Jumaine's mentors were, and how important they were in his early life. So we'll try and circle around and get Jumaine back on the show.
Real quick, and he tells a better story, but his high school basketball coach was, of course, black. He only went to Georgia because the main reason he went to Georgia, Tubby was there. Tubby Smith. He
Tubby
wanted to play
Smith.
for another black coach. Then when he signs, a week later, Tubby Smith goes to Kentucky. And at that time, he'd had to sit for a year before he could have transferred. And but he's got, of course, other details. And it is a good story. That would have been a good one to ask.
Yep. All right, Chops, hit him with it.
You know where you can find your boy. You can find me on the X at The Real Big Chops. You can find me on the gram, Big Chop 79. And, of course, here on Facebook, Michael Gregory Mills, my government name. Holla at your boy.
All right, sis.
At One Young Terry on the X and Instagram.
Hey, Coach Noob, we missed him tonight, but you can find him on Instagram and Twitter at Coach Noob. And we all know we can find the real deal, Rasheen Hill, the dream, at Rasheen Hill on Facebook and Instagram. Connect with us here on the Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei and the Barbershop Crew. Check out our website, podpage.com, Original Sports Podcast. Like our Facebook page, join our conversation on Twitter, and reach out to us on Snapchat. All of those are OSP with MM. And follow us on Instagram and watch our TikToks. We've been doing TikToks like there's no tomorrow with some updates on the draft coming up. We've been doing prospect breakdowns, and we're also on YouTube. A lot of episodes out there. All of those are Original Sports Podcast. Hey, a big shout out to our networks. Let's Talk Sports Network, SidelineSports.com, Elite Sports and Entertainment Network, and Manning Media Network. We're very appreciative of all the things that they do for us. And you can catch this show tonight. If you missed it earlier, you can catch us on Roku from 9 to 10 on ESEN. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the show, where you want us to say more or say less, by emailing us at originalsportspodcast@gmail.com. Shout out to my guy, Steve Medley, for doing our voice intro. Shout out to Charlie Hodgson for our music. And join us next Tuesday to experience the O on the Original Sports Podcast.
Oh, that was tight.